Alright, I'm back. But individually, this last category, individually wise, would be the characters that individually set the standard for animation. Now individually, the first one of course would be the one that, in my opinion, put animation on the map for any studio, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse would be the first one to go in, if you will. He would be the first one to go in from an animation standpoint. Individually, he'd be the first one. There's no doubt about that. Second one, of course, would probably be Bugs Bunny, because of what he's accomplished. The third would probably be Betty Boop. Betty Boop would go in as well, because she kind of was the first lead female character in a cartoon series. Number 4 would be Popeye, of course, because he came from a comic strip and made his name mostly in animation. So that's Mickey, Bugs, Betty, Popeye, and what would be number 5? Well, number 5 is sort of like a group that is sort of like a duo that would go in together. Well, not a duo, but number 5 would be, again, another female character. She's actually put in there because she was the first animated, she was part of Disney's first ever animated feature, and that would be Snow White. She would go in at number 5. And then number 6. Number 6, of course, would be, in my opinion, number 6, individually, from a more contemporary standpoint, number 6, to me, from a more contemporary standpoint, a more modernized standpoint, if you will, more contemporary standpoint, number 6 would definitely be, and I know I might get some flack for this, number 6 would have to be He-Man. That's right, He-Man would probably be number 6 individually, because he was the first series to create a spin-off for a female character. So number 6 would definitely go to He-Man. I know some people may have a difference of opinion on that, but those would be the inductees. Now I know you're probably thinking, well, shouldn't you add one more category, even it out at 4? Well, I was thinking about that. And a category I would go in would be kind of like the diva category, the female character, the lead female character. And the 6 female, and with the exception of Betty Boop and Snow White being in the individual, overall, individual Hall of Fame, overall, basically men and women, the individual one of just diva-like, you'd have to go with these inductees as the first 6 divas from an animation standpoint. Animation standpoint, you'd have to go with Minnie Mouse, no doubt about it. You have to go with her. She was the first lead female out there. Number 2, you'd have to go with, and again I might get some flack for this, you'd have to go with Lola Bunny, because she has become the only Warner Brothers female character, or opposite of Bugs Bunny, that stayed longer than the likes of Honey Bunny and maybe the Daisy Bunny or whatever she was called before that. So Lola Bunny, whether you agree with it or not, would be like the second inductee. Number 3 would be Cindy Bear, because just like with Lola and Minnie, she made a name for herself by being Yogi's opposite, and really became very popular because of who she was. I mean, after the live-action movie, people have been wondering, where is she? When is she going to return? When is she going to make her debut in the live-action movies? And the closest that we ever saw of her so far was in the new MetLife commercial. And I apologize for the bird in the background. So Cindy Bear would be like number 3. Number 4 would be Gadget Hack Range from Rescue Rangers, because of her popularity and the fact that no matter where you go with her, she's a huge deal. She's, people still talk about her. People still like her. And she's one of the main characters used in any revitalized merchandise. So number 4, you'd have to go with Gadget. There's no doubt about it. Number 5. This may sound biased in some perspectives, but even though the series would be inducted in the animated as part of the is part of the inaugural even though the animated series would be part of the inaugural animated series class in this Hall of Fame. Number 5 would be Princess Sally Acorn from the Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday morning cartoon series. And again, just like Gadget, it's because of the fact that she's so popular, and no matter where you go, people still talk about her. People still enjoy her. In fact, if you would have went outside, in fact, on the outskirts of Australia, was on the outskirts of Australia, at the Sega World in Sydney, when it was around, you had a statue of Sonic and her. And she was and instead of like using Amy Rose in a puppet show or a stage show, they used her instead. So it shows you the popularity she has, even to this day. So individually, even though the Saturday morning show would be part of the inaugural class, individually from a diva's perspective, if you will, she would be part of the inaugural female class, female inductees. And then number 6, of course, would probably be another Disney favorite, Rebecca Cunningham, in my opinion. Rebecca Cunningham, because of the fact that she's so popular, and the fact that it showed her as more than... It basically, in the show, placed her in an environment which is based around the 40s and the 50s and the 30s, to where females were never looked at as, you know, bosses or the heads of corporations or companies or in charge of things. You know, and yet she was placed in there and placed in that environment in Tailspin to the point that her popularity just grew because people loved to see that diversity. They loved seeing that change of pace when it came to the show. And I apologize for the bird here again. I don't know why he's making so much noise. I have to tap on the cage to shut him up. But again, number 6 would be Rebecca. So again, the 6 divas, if you wanted to do like a diva category or female inductee category, inaugurally, you would have Minnie, you would have Lola, you would have Gadget, you would have Sally. I mean, let's see. You would have Lola, you have Minnie, you would have Lola, you would have Cindy, you would have Gadget, you would have Sally, and you'd have Rebecca Cunningham. So altogether, those female inductees, along with in part 1, the inductees, and at the beginning of this part, with the individual inductees, the individuals being overall men and women, as well as the animated series and franchise that I mentioned in part 2, those, in my opinion, personal opinion, would be the ones I would induct into an inaugural Hall of Fame class of animation. Now, you can agree with this, and you can not agree with this. If you want to do a video response on it, that's fine. Go ahead, respond down below, tell me what you guys think. So, that's all I'm going to say. Sorry this was in 2 parts. And if you want to do a video response to this, go ahead. I encourage you to do that, and I'll talk to you all later.